All righty. So thank you everybody for joining us today for a quick, well, we're going to go about an hour, hopefully maybe a little shorter on our presentation, and then we're going to leave time for questions at the end. But I am Meredith Olmstead. I'm the CEO and founder of FIGRO Solutions. We are a marketing and sales consulting agency. We work exclusively with financial institutions. And we are here today to talk about using video and social media to promote mortgage products and services. So we really wanted to get specific and really talk about a product or service line that was very timely. I know that we're starting to get into middle of the first quarter, and that is really a really important time to be thinking about getting yourselves positioned for mortgage products and services for the spring. So Scott Hansen, who's here, I'm going to let him introduce himself in just a second, put our heads together and decided this would be a great topic for us to talk about. So I'm Meredith, and it's nice to meet you, and welcome to our session. And we have with us the great Scott Hansen. So Scott, tell us a little bit about what you do for financial institutions.
Sure, I should put that on the business card, the great Scott Hansen. My background began in TV news, won an Emmy Award there doing investigative reporting, and then about 17 years ago, I started ClickView because I saw a need for financial institutions to really grab a hold of this new thing of video online and to try to take my experience in TV to make it easy for them. And it resulted in ClickView, which is a library of ready-to-go video clips to help educate your depositors. And of course, mortgages are in that mix as well. And so our whole idea is to make this process easy by just letting you download something ready to go and then upload it, and you're off to the races. But what we're going to talk about today is how you can do some of that yourself and how you can really up your video game, particularly when it comes to social media. And it can just be magical when you hit that mark. And so I'm really excited about this. I think we have some really good ideas, some good news you can use and be using this coming week to lay the groundwork for marketing your mortgage products.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited about this as well. Just a couple other housekeeping items. We are recording. We're going to be sharing the recording with everybody, not only people who attend, but anybody who wasn't able to come. I've gotten a couple of messages from people who wanted to make sure there was going to be a recording. So we'll definitely make sure that gets out there. We also have our great Brian Mahino, who is in the background, but is here with our FIGRO team. Brian keeps me on my toes when it comes to all things technical around webinars and everything else really under the sun. But Brian, say hello if you don't mind.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining.
So Brian is going to be managing the recording and sharing that, but then also he's going to take a look at questions and answers as they come in. And so really, if you have a question during the session, you can throw it in the Q&A section on the Zoom, or you can just hold on to it till the end. But then Brian will kind of help cue some of those questions at the end of the presentation. So he's here to kind of help move things along for us in that realm. So let's just go ahead and dive in. So really, when we're talking about video and we're talking about social media, and they're both kind of go hand in hand, and video is no longer one piece of an overall marketing plan. It has to be central to your outreach, especially your social. When it comes to your social strategy, video is absolutely dominated social media. It used to be that YouTube was shared on Facebook, and that was just kind of a nice little extra kick on social media. Nowadays, people are uploading all of their videos directly to natively and directly to pretty much every single social media platform, and videos and reels and those kinds of things are really central to the user and consumer experience online. 78% of people watch online videos every week. 55% view them every day. So really, really important to be thinking about how you can better leverage this video channel for all your products and services. And we're specifically going to be talking about mortgages today.
So the real hero story for videos is their conversion rate. I mean, early on, we started to see this when we first started ClickView. We were seeing 30% conversion rates, people taking the next step after watching a video. This was the early days of video being online, and those high conversion rates just are a fact of life when you're dealing with video. And the ROI that it brings, 78% of marketers say that it was video that increased their return on investment. It makes sense really, because especially in banking, video and being able to see someone, how they speak, how they talk, it builds trust. It helps to humanize your brand. And then a nice little kick is that Google loves it. If you want to increase your score, you want to keep people on your page longer, you want to have them clicking around more, that indicates to Google that the folks are enjoying the experience on your website. And that's exactly what a video does. It holds people on the page for longer. So there are a lot of options we understand when it comes to video. You might have different ideas of what would be a good fit for your brand. Maybe you're looking at something like, like a YouTube host and guests with your mortgage experts. Maybe something that's a video with graphics using either video you've shot yourself or perhaps purchased from like Pond5 or Storyblock, or a real client experience, again, that you can shoot yourself. A lot of different flavors for this, also in animation. We understand this. We want to talk very high level, no matter what flavor you think is best for you. We're going to talk about what really is universally true of video and telling your story. So let's talk about a couple of things that are just sort of universally true for video. Number one, universal truth: video does emotion better than any other medium, Universal truth number two is that video also does storytelling better than any other medium. And you might be thinking, we're bankers here. Where's the emotion? Where's the storytelling? Hey, mortgages are great for emotion storytelling. Take a look at this for a second. This is just a little YouTube clip that we pulled out at random. Okay, there's enough of that. Well, you were watching that, just that 10-second clip right there. You were smiling, weren't you? You were smiling for probably the entire time. Now, if you just saw a picture of a little toddler with a puppy, you'd smile briefly. But that's the power of video, is that it's an extended experience, and that emotional connection is there and holds you there. And while that wasn't War and Peace you were watching, there was also a little bit of a narrative because of the immediacy of it. What's going to happen next? What's going to happen? That hold that video can have on you is about storytelling and about emotion. And you have a great story to tell, and a very emotional one too, because you're helping people to get their homes, to fulfill that dream. There's a lot of emotion and a really good story there with the different people that you meet every day. The third universal truth, though, about video is that simple isn't simple. I mean, you've heard this. Video is hard to do and expensive, and yes, it can be, but that can be intimidating and off-putting. I'd rather put it this way: that simple, when it comes to video, isn't simple, but as we mentioned before, you saw those statistics. The payoff is certainly worth it. So let's talk a little bit about what I mean by simple isn't simple. Here's a shot that I took of myself. That's a selfie, but it sort of encapsulates everything that we have seen in video clips that have been sent to us by clients a lot of times asking, hey, can you do something with this? Can you work this into a video? And it's a simple matter of fact is you need to know how to shoot and to recognize good video. The shot right there, it's portrait instead of landscape, like a TV is, backlit, poorly composed, and then also there's a matter of distance from the camera or from the phone. I mean, your phones shoot great video, they really do, but a lot of times they just need a little bit of help and guidance. Simple isn't simple because you need to have a sense of timing too. What is too long about a video clip that you're using? You need to know editing so you can shorten or fix something if the lighting isn't quite right, and also to be able to caption it for ADA compliance there. Now, I know that like Facebook and YouTube will do some of that for you. Don't trust that, though. YouTube is horrible about adding punctuation and misspellings galore. What we do at QlikView, we always just make a point. If somebody says a word, it's burned into the video. We just put it on there ourselves, and that's easy because that way, if you use that clip on Facebook or Twitter or wherever you load it, you know that the captions are there and reliable. Finally, just the thing to keep in mind is a good quality video should be invisible, and poor quality, though, you cannot ignore it, and it'll overpower your message. It really will overpower your message. So we're just going to talk about ways that you can very easily step that game up just a little bit.
And I do want to say really quick, Scott, before we move on, that this is really important because I think that you can start where you are in video, even though simple isn't simple. You know, you do have to have some skills behind it. But I mean, you can see here I am, and we make videos on a weekly basis as a podcast for our agency. And we use either our computer video or our iPhones. We set them up correctly. We have some decent lighting, and we have somebody in-house who does some basic editing and overlays and kind of those kinds of things. We're not spending huge amounts of money developing videos, but we just take a few minutes to get some of these basics down, and then you can go, those go a long way. So I do want to say that I think you can start where you are. You don't have to have lots of fancy stuff to get going. You really just have to do some basics right, and then start somewhere.
Yes, yes, correct. In fact, shooting landscape like TV is a great start. And then the lighting, the picture right there is a ring light. You can get one of those for under $100 on Amazon. I'm using one right now. I mean, it's very nice. It just provides a round light on your interview subject, and then a microphone that can connect to, again, it can be your phone, that's fine, but have the microphone on the speaker so that you're not getting all of the echo in the room going. And then if you are, let's say you're out following somebody as they go into their new home that you helped them to get. When you're shooting it, keep slow movements going and not jerking around at every little thing that moves because it looks like it was shot by a housefly that way. You want it to be slow and steady following the action, or just use a tripod if no movement is needed. Let's talk a little bit about editing, because every video that you shoot should pass through an editor. And I know we're programmed not to do that right now. We're programmed to shoot something and upload it on Facebook and you're done. You don't want to do that. Because the video's quality reflects on your professionalism. All right. And so those videos you shoot spur of the moment on your phone, that's great. They're authentic and they have that what's going to happen next feel to it. But is it really clear what you're communicating? First of all, we mentioned ADA compliance requires that you need to have captions if people are saying anything. The viewer might need some sort of guidance if people are walking to the home, maybe just a little thing that comes up and says the Andersons are walking to their home for the first time. Oh, okay, now I know what's going on. And then best of all, you can edit to the bone. It doesn't, the total runtime of a video isn't so important. It's just, it isn't how long it is, just how, is it too long? Is it to the point that people are having enough of this? And instead of a 2-minute video, you should have, say, a 20-second video. So always think that things have to go through editing program. It doesn't have to be intimidating. Apple has some very simple stuff that you can do right on your phone. But it really does need to pass through an editor before you put it out there.
So as we've like talked a lot about, or Scott has gone through some of the basics of, what you really need and what you need to be doing, like front to really shoot some even really intro videos, some basic videos. We really wanted to talk now about how to turn, video and social media into a selling machine for mortgages, for generating leads, for building confidence, for building brand awareness, for potentially driving people to your application. So I wanted to talk for a few minutes about what we term as a HubSpot agency as a sales flywheel. And this is really how video and social media kind of help drive people through their buying journey. So think of it this way: 72% of customers said they would rather learn about a product or service by way of video. And that's why we are talking a lot about video when we're talking about the sales process, because people are interested in learning about products and services, but they really want to learn about them through this means. And so you have to kind of meet consumers where they are. And so this is the HubSpot flywheel. This is kind of a new version of your sales funnel, where basically it works the same way, where people are kind of coming in as strangers, becoming prospects. So they are attracted to your, so the first stage is kind of attracting strangers into your brand, starting to get them more familiar with who you are, what you do, what makes you different, that kind of thing. Can all be driven a lot by marketing and potentially by some some word of mouth, which comes from good service and, people who are really having a good experience with your institution. So the first stage of this sales flywheel that we're going to be talking about is attracting new strangers and prospects into your sales experience. Then you're going to be engaging those individuals. You're really going to be building trust with them, demonstrating what makes you different, what would be like, why would they come to you versus going to another institution. Engaging them, showing off some of your expertise, highlighting thought leadership in your area, which would be mortgages in this case, what we're talking about. So really starting to convert prospects to customers, and then and bringing in the sales process. And then finally, as people are kind of converting, you go from attract to engage to delight. And that's kind of a fun word, to be honest. It's a fun stage, really. You all as small to mid-sized institutions pride yourselves on giving great member or customer service. And that's what we mean by delight, is really making sure that customers are getting what they're looking for, that you're following up with them, providing the support that they need when they're going through their, a complicated process like a mortgage, and turning those customers into promoters. And that's how you go all the way back around this sales flywheel, back to attracting new strangers and new prospects. So this is really kind of the way that we like to think about the sales funnel now, because it does really build on itself. And when you're delivering really quality products and service to people, they will continue to recommend you and bring new strangers in the door for you, to turn into prospects. So this is kind of how we're going to be talking about things. So the first step that we're really going to be talking about is attracting those new people into your sales flywheel. So how we do this with video is how we're going to start first.
Right. And so these are people who don't know much about you, and so they're not ready to invest a lot of time in learning about you. So what you do with video at this stage needs to be short. It needs to be short. And think about making the imagery very aspirational. Yes, that's me. I'm those people that I see in the video there. Keep in mind some interesting introductory topics. So you're not going to go too deep into the whole mortgage process, but introductory topics, shopping for a home, just the very basic things, finding out, what is a fair price? How do I get pre-approved? Things like that. Just very nice introductory topics. And you're looking at bite-sized teaching here. You're going to get bite-sized trust as a result. This is education-based marketing, and what you're doing is setting yourself up as a trusted advisor. You're only going to be able to do that in small little bites at this phase. Now, a great structure for this, and you see it all the time, and it works, and so that's why you see it all the time. The bullet lists. 4 ways to get the best deal on a mortgage. 3 ways to. That kind of structure forces brevity. And it gets right to the point, and it's respectful of people's time. So that's a great structure at this point. And I think we have an example here I wanted to show you. This is a video we did very recently. Those are images that would attract someone's attention who's in the market for a home right now. So let's talk about Encore. Let's talk about how you can. That's right. How you can some real ideas that you can use then with that in mind. Like that's what you're trying to achieve. Here's an example that you just saw. So how about these for topics? 4 things to look for in a realtor, and you could feature a realtor who does their banking with you. And sit them down and ask them just to come up with a quick bullet list of 4 things to look for. 5 common home buyer questions featuring your mortgage specialist. It could be like a top 10 list, like David Letterman used to do. 3 things I love about my job, with a loan officer of yours. Now, there's a great way to bring up the emotion of what they do and to humanize your people, to feel close to them as they just talk about what is so fulfilling about their role in helping people to find their homes and to make that dream come true. So those are three good, simple structures that would attract someone who isn't a current follower of yours, but start to go, these people, they have something that I'm interested in knowing.
Yeah. And you know what I like most about these ideas, Scott, is that they don't sell anything. You know, when you're attracting somebody and you're not selling them anything yet, you're building trust, and you have to do it slowly over time, but meaningfully. And I think these are great examples of how, you know, with video and sharing these kinds of topics on social media, you can do a great job of you know, building your brand awareness and getting in front of people without hawking your products and services, you know.
Right.
So
I've heard you talk about the 80-20 rule before, where 20% of the time you can talk about yourself, but 80% of the time it needs to be something that is of interest, you know, to the viewer. And you know, your guidance on that is just spot on, I think. And the problem is that 80%, the stuff that's interesting to them, is hardest to make. It really, you know, it's hard to research and get out there. But you have experts in your right there in your office with you, and so this is a way to get to make the most of that.
Absolutely.
And then another, this is just a cool thing to be ready to do all the time. Shoot video when you're handing the keys to a borrower, or you might have one of those big ceremonial keys like, hey, I closed today, but shoot it, you know, with video, and you're going to see the hugs all around. I mean, it's the moment that that they sign the papers. Capture that emotion. Or you know, if you've got this great relationship with these folks and they are nearby, go and, hey, I want to get some video of you walking in your home for the first time as a family. Being sure to get release forms from them, of course, too. But those are just really great emotional stories to be able to tell.
Yeah. Now, in terms of social, obviously video is great, but a lot of these things can be leveraged with different, you know, with pictures, with quick little boomerang videos. Those kinds of things can be very quick and effective as well. But one of the things that we see that works really well in the mortgage process on social is testimonials. You can consider putting pictures or short videos of closings and short quotes from first-time home buyers. You can see this, like this is an example of the big key. We've also seen these where they just move back and forth, and it seems so silly, or like, you know, like not that big of a difference from a picture to like a quick little boomerang video. But on social, you can sometimes get away with using those social editors, you know, on Instagram or on Facebook, to clean up a really quick little boomerang. And believe it or not, even like a 3-second boomerang of this, you know, with these 4 people holding that key and moving back and forth like this, would do better than just a picture, because social really like that gives so much more organic reach to the video versus a picture. So these are just some examples of how to kind of leverage testimonials on social media for mortgage. You can see real people, and then you can also see just taking a testimonial and turning it into a nice graphic works as well. I believe the one in the middle, it does look like it was on Facebook, but I think I've also seen them do versions of these in Instagram and on the Instagram stories, which are like short videos, but they're vertical. And you can make nice testimonials on that platform, and they work great. Also, in terms of attracting new eyeballs and for your brand around mortgage, is sharing blogs with tips about mortgage. So some similar topics, kind of like what Scott has already talked about making. Best neighborhoods to live in is a popular topic. We've also seen budgeting as a great evergreen topic that helps build trust with potential new borrowers or members or customers. And again, is not selling anything, is really giving away a lot of great advice and helping people make sound financial decisions. And this is the kind of trust that your institution needs in order to bring in those new customers around complicated products like mortgage. There's also a ton of search volume on mortgage calculators. It's a big part of what we do when we're building new digital branches or really robust websites that function as a digital branch for our clients. We actually have mortgage calculators and consumer loan calculators that live on every product page and actually capture emails for lead generation on the product pages. And we do that because mortgage calculators are really, really popular. So even sharing some of those kinds of resources on social and, in email or other channels works great because there's a lot of interest in being able to calculate when you get further down the buying journey, being able to calculate your potential payment, monthly payment. Here's some examples of just sharing some blogs on social media and, really kind of, these are early stage blogs. They're well, one of them is, the other one is a little further down, but really looking at, working with a real estate agent and tips around, kind of how to find a real estate agent, and those kinds of topics can be really useful for people who are just early in their process. We also recommend that you show off the accomplishments of your mortgage team as you're trying to attract new people to your institution. Awards they received, testimonials specifically about working with them. We love to see testimonials done in video. You can see the first example here is an actual video that is captioned, that is done, with like a nice background with good lighting, but really simple. And I'm sure this was edited very quickly. And this is about somebody who worked with their mortgage team. And she says, not only did I find a fabulous mortgage loan officer, I think I found a lifelong friend. Like, you can't make that up, and that's the kind of thing that goes really far in kind of promoting your entire team and the differentiator between working with you and somebody else. So great example of using video on social with testimonials around mortgage. So the second stage that we've already kind of touched on is engage. So you kind of have some people who are starting to already have some brand awareness with you. They've maybe seen a little bit of your content. They're a little more familiar with you than just a cold, lead or stranger. But how can you then take them through that next stage to engage them and really potentially drive them to apply now?
So here's your opportunity to go into a little bit more detail. Your videos here can be longer, still using their time wisely. Again, educate, don't sell. Educate the viewer about the process, a little bit more deeply into the process, and again, position yourself as the trusted advisor. So we have an example here of being able to use analogies. But let's face it, because mortgages are complex and sometimes you have to explain those things. A great tool to do that is to use analogies. That's just a way that we can learn about new things by relating it to old things. Here's just a quick little video clip that we just pushed out this week, in fact, to our clients. Take a look. So that's an image that will stick in the viewer's mind, that they don't want to be late. They don't want to be left out. They don't want to be late for that race. Everybody else is going to be ready. Another tool that you can use is humor carefully, so that it doesn't hurt your credibility, but it's possible to use humor without harming your credibility. This appeals to a younger audience as well. This video is about 1 minute long, has a devilishly handsome host. And I want you to notice how much information is packed on it. I think the topic here is if you're having an open house to sell your home, you're downsizing, you're upsizing, whatever, you have to have an open house. Here are some tips. Notice how quickly this moves, little dashes of humor throughout. Take a look. So your house is for sale and a potential buyer is coming by. You don't want to make a bad impression. Here are 5 tips to make your house show well. First, clean. Besides the usual scrubbing, Be sure to wipe down any surfaces the prospective buyer might touch, like handrails, doorknobs, and sinks. Get your pets out of the house. Sorry, Fluffy. Remove food bowls and litter boxes too, since they can smell. Speaking of smells, brew some coffee before the showing, or bake some cinnamon rolls for a welcoming aroma. Declutter, lose pictures on the fridge and photos on the mantle. Remove area rugs that visually divide a room and make the place feel smaller. Put away sports memorabilia. If your buyer is a fan of the rival team, you've got a problem. With just those little touches, you might be celebrating a sale. Do us a favor, please. Tell your friends about us so they can be smart about their money too. So let's talk about some examples of real ideas that you could roll out to help people at this phase of the sales flywheel, to help engage them. How about a loan officer explaining 5 questions about closing costs? You know that they've heard those same questions over however many, 3, 4, 5 questions that they always hear about closing costs, and they could be up at a whiteboard explaining something about that. Your mortgage specialist driving through a neighborhood, and get one of those little suction cup holders to hold up a phone. And as they drive through the neighborhood, talk about buying and selling a home, in a hot market. It's very visually interesting because they're out in the field. Get them out of the office that way. Or have your team put together, have them come together and answer the question, how much should you put down? And here's an opportunity to put a little twist on that, rather than just have them sitting around a table discussing that. Maybe do it like, what was the show, The Newlywed Game, where you have them write down their answers in secret, and then 1, 2, 3, and they all hold up. And what percentage should you put down on a home? They may not agree, and then that could be a lively discussion back and forth that your viewer can be listening in on. So it's just an interesting way to engage people. But again, notice you're talking about topics that are a little deeper into this process, and moving them along through now that they've gotten to know you a little bit better.
So how we then leverage social in this engaging kind of stage to really, get people to consider the application process. So first of all, you need to be turning your mortgage content into ads. So one thing I will say is that pretty much social media organic reach is dead. I mean, it's not 100% gone, especially with friends and family that you're interacting with. I think you still will see organic reach that way. But from a business's perspective, and for Facebook pages for a bank or a credit union, you need to be promoting your content with paid ads that are well targeted and designed, that are running in the background of, of your entire social media strategy. I will say this: if you're not running ads, it's almost, in my opinion, not worth it to even be posting on social. So, because you're just having so few people seeing and being able to interact with your content. So we recommend that you promote it into your specific local area. You can do this usually with a radius around a town or a specific branch location, and that you target your ads to previously engaged audiences. And what I mean by that is, you are going to, over time, you're going to be showing your content on social, through engagement ads, through other kinds of ads organically. One of the things that you can do specifically with Facebook ads, which then, helps you get in front of people on Instagram as well, is you can create a custom audience, and you can see it here, where you can create an audience that includes everyone who has engaged with your page over the last 365 days. What that tells you is that these people know your brand. They've seen your content in the past. They are a warmed up audience in that sense. They're more apt to leave Facebook or Instagram and go to your website for more information, to take the next step, to read, something about like an ebook that you might be sharing, or to check out a rate or a promotion if that's what you're sharing. So definitely make sure that you are creating these kinds of custom audiences of previously engaged audiences, and then you're showing them your later stage content, your mortgage content around becoming a customer. You're showing those people that information. This also shows you locations, just shows you the 15-mile radius that you'll need to use when targeting. So you want to make sure you're not showing, your mortgage information to somebody in a different state. So make sure you're targeting your ads properly. You also want to be focusing on, in terms of social content, you want, and ads that you're going to be creating, you want to focus on the differentiators, what's making your institution stand out amongst, lots of possibilities. You want to keep images clean and without text on them. I cannot emphasize this enough. We have a lot of customers who bring us like traditional ad copy or PDFs that are digitally designed like little ads, like you would put like in a traditional placement, like a display ad, or potentially even in a magazine or somewhere else on the internet. On social, that is not what people want to see in their feeds, in their stories. They want to see clean copy that kind of fits in the user experience. So keep those images clean, and include images with people, and make sure that you're showing your ads and your content in your Instagram feed and story placement. And the reason we say to do that is because you can no longer target ads based on age as a financial institution on Facebook and Instagram with ads. It's against their policies and procedures. The only way to get in front of a younger audience is to place your ads in areas on social where younger people are. And that is in story placements on Instagram and Facebook. So make sure that you're taking advantage of some of those placements for ads when you're running them. These are just a few examples, and these are specific to mortgage. You can see the first one does actually have some copy on it, which is fine. It's a video that was created in an editor. This is placed in the Instagram story placement. It kind of rotates over time, and changes some of the text that goes along with it. But this kind of placement is great, especially for people who are having previously engaged with your content. You can see these other examples are images, but they are ads, and they link directly to either learning more or applying now. And but they had, some of them have, like the second example here has the mortgage team there, so it kind of shows off the team of lenders that you would be working with if you decided to go with this institution. So it's kind of good for differentiating. And our last step in the flywheel, or the sales process, is delighting our customers, hopefully, and driving them to kind of share their experience with others. So from a video perspective, Scott, what does that look like?
Yeah, speaking of experience, before you jump on it, I couldn't help but think when you were showing those examples and things. So often it feels like marketing is sort of trial and error. And just the experience that you're bringing here is of knowing what works from just your time with so many customers. I just really appreciate that. I think it's a great way to sidestep some common errors. All right, so with videos in the delight stage, you're going to shift your emphasis now. You're talking about really two things. You want your customers to become evangelical for you, to talk about you and talk you up to their friends, but you also want them to do more business with them. So it's not just one transaction, but multiple. So here, your product focus is going to shift. You're looking at refis and home equity products. It's time to think about shareable topics that make it easy for the people who love you to share that love. So think sitting at home, oh, Jenny should see this. I know that they were talking about refinancing just now, something like that. So just think about these shareable topics, and think about building goodwill with hero stories, showcasing these dreams that you have helped to come true. And part of this is, I know Meredith will talk about this too, of having sort of training the people who are in the trenches to come and talk to you and share those stories so that you're aware of them. There is this awesome couple that we're dealing with. This nice young man just came in the office this morning. You should meet him. He'd be a great profile for one of your little video clips. You need to get them in the habit of sharing that type of information with you. An example that I have to show here on this is a credit union that had us come in and do a series of profiles in a lot of different things for auto loans and credit consolidation. Part of it was their mortgage product. We just lifted out a little bit here because they wanted to profile a customer that they thought had a really inspirational story that they were able to help with. So just take a look at this. Timothy was looking for a home but was still new to the United States and needed someone to believe in him and help him buy a home. The people at Credit Union One gave him that chance.
My first house was actually financed by Credit Union One.
But Timothy wasn't done buying homes.
My second mortgage, second building was financed in 2002 by Credit Union One.
And today, because Credit Union One gave Timothy a start personally, he was able to develop himself professionally.
I'm an investor now, so I buy buildings, fix and rent them out. I have about 10 buildings.
Now you can bet that he is in that delight stage. Timothy was looking for a home, but was who is out talking up Credit Union One and what they've done for him. And when he hears somebody's looking for a mortgage, he's letting them know about it. And meanwhile, his story is wonderful for others to be able to share and to be proud of where they do their banking, because look at what they do. So that's kind of the mission statement you want to see. Here's an example of it. Now let's talk about some real ideas that you could go out and start rolling out. How about 5 great uses for your home's equity? Again, that could be like a David Letterman top 10 list. How to calculate your home's equity with your loan officer at a whiteboard. The difference that 1% can make about refis, or maybe right now, because we're waiting for, word about interest rates, potentially going up. That's another great topic that a mortgage specialist could talk about. What happens if rates go up 0.5%, what they can do for you, to you. And then showcasing a family's home improvements. So this kind of goes to the home equity thing, with pictures and videos before and after. Just very, you don't have to go HGTV on this. Really, it's just compelling to see those before and afters, and very aspirational for folks who may have, those home improvements that they've put off for a while.
Yeah, great topics, always great topics. But how we can leverage social as well, in addition to some of these videos. So we've seen some really nice live content that you can promote on social, and there's great organic reach for live content. We have some clients that are very active with webinars on mortgage topics of interest, and you could even go live on Facebook for, a closing, or to talk about, maybe if you're doing an in-person event around, how the process of mortgages work, or, one of these topics that Scott just went over with you. So you could potentially leverage some of those features of social that way. But we have seen some really great results with sharing webinars and this kind of content. Again, supporting your existing customers while encouraging them to potentially share some of this content with others is a nice way to turn them into promoters. We've also had some fun, like mortgage related contests that we've run on social. Things around like a HELOC and what's your dream renovation, or I've heard of a funny ugliest house contest for a renovation where you submit a short video or pictures of something that you want to renovate, for the potential to win, a big prize, like maybe a $500 gift card to a Home Depot or something like that. But you turn all of those submissions into leads that can be followed up with for, a HELOC or a home equity loan in the future. So you can see this is one example of a home renovation contest that we ran a little while ago for a client. They had lots of views, great conversion rate, almost 100 submissions. They also leveraged this. So that's, 94 leads that can be, then you have all of their contact information, including a phone number and their, what they want to do, all, with this great sales leads here. So really fun idea, but also something that really can generate some really actionable sales activity. And really think about showing off the human side of your financial institution. I think this is really, really important. You can do this with video or with pictures and other kinds of assets, but think about community events where you're making donations, how banking with your financial institution is different from the competition, showing your staff at work or what they're doing for their communities. Maybe it's mortgage related, maybe it's not quite mortgage related, but it's still a great way to remind people why they're doing business with your institution and potentially get them to share that experience with others. A few examples here. where we had staff, there were staff that were there kind of, helping to promote the Oklahoma Women's Project. There's also here, this was a video, I believe, where they had staff who were visiting a local tech high school and kind of doing a presentation. And again, employees participating in, local leadership conference. So great ways to show off the human side of the institutions.
And giving them a tool to be able to share with too, the organizations that you went out to speak with. That's just really powerful stuff.
Yeah. And success stories that lead back to attracting new customers. Again, going back to those testimonials, but potentially a little deeper in testimonials, or just making sure that you're continuing to leverage those toward driving traffic to the website. So maybe sharing some testimonials with a link to a product or service page included, closings with happy customers, other ways your mortgage team is giving back. You can see here, this is an actual a picture of the mortgage team who was presenting to the local association of realtors. So really showing how the mortgage team, the in-house mortgage team, is such experts that they're asked to go and present about mortgage processes locally, which really kind of shows off your internal team. And that's your biggest asset. By 2022, just as we're wrapping up today and making room for some questions, it's really important to understand, and 2022 is here, right? I mean, that's now. 82% of the global internet traffic will come from streaming videos and downloads, and 87% of video marketers are satisfied with the ROI of their video marketing efforts on social and other places. So while simple isn't simple, like Scott has said, while there is a process to it, you do have to, do some editing. You do have to have a strategy. You may have to have somebody in-house who can, or outsource to a great partner like Scott. You will have to make some investment. I think it's a really wise investment when we're looking at the facts that, the vast majority of traffic on the internet now is being driven by video production and consumption. Any final parting words, Scott?
We talk about video being so difficult, but clearly social is as well, the ins and out, and that changes so much. So I'm just glad whenever I have a question about social, I can give you a call and find out what happened to that organic traffic that people used to be able to enjoy out there. What did they do to their algorithm and those types of things? So it's just I just appreciate the experience that you bring to this topic, and I think maybe you've lived in that world for so long, you've lost track of just how complicated this is for the rest of us out here. So thank you for making that simple.
Yeah, I'm very lucky that I have a great team as well that stays up to speed on all those changes, because you're right. Every time I log into Facebook or go into Facebook ads, I'm like semi-lost these days. Mm-hmm. It is hard to do on your own, but it's a must. And if you're not, out there promoting your content where consumers are, they're simply not going to see it. So it's really important. So I know we've got a couple of questions, I think. And so Scott we were going to quickly talk about, kind of an offer that Scott has. Brian, do we have any questions that we can quickly talk about first?
Yes, Martha, I have two questions for you here. The first one, I tend to watch videos online on mute, just doing some mindless scrolling. Do you think captioning helps to engage people more?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times people will watch a video completely start to end without any sound, but it is important. And the longer that somebody watches your video, the more it'll be shown in the future. So if you can keep people engaged with your video, even with the sound off, by using captions, that's a great strategy.
Great. The second question is a housekeeping question. Will the slides be available after the webinar?
Yes, I think so. Right, Brian?
Yes, absolutely.
We will have, I think we're going to have a landing page that will have the recording, and we can link to the slides. So that's no problem. So I know, Scott, you have a little offer that you wanted to share with everybody.
Yeah. I appreciate you all coming here and spending your time with us. And just to say thank you, I wanted to offer you, there's my email, scott@clickview.com. Drop me a note, mention this webinar, and we're going to give you credentials for a month of full access to our library.
Oh, wow.
Unlimited access. So, if you're wondering what can video do for us, you're going to have the video clips there. Just grab them and use some of these strategies that we've talked about, and you'll be able to see how it really works. You're going to have
Awesome, Scott.
hundreds of videos.
I didn't even know Scott was going to do that. Wow, that's awesome. You guys have no idea. We're talking hundreds of little video clips that you can use on your social media, and you can actually download them and upload them natively to your social media feed.
Yep. Download and post. We try to make it fast and easy. So it's a great way to, you want to see what video will do for you, you need some video to start with. So we're going to start out with that. Access, it's $1 million library you get access to. I'm also going to send you one other thing, this video clip that we're going to roll out to our clients next week. You'll have unlimited use of this as well. Take a look. That's what you folks do. We talked about the emotion and the story. That's what you folks do all the time. So we appreciate you, and we appreciate your time today as well. So drop me a note. I'll be happy to send that to you.
And then the last thing I wanted to mention to everybody today is an offer that we have for all of you. So in addition to doing webinars and working with clients on a retainer basis, and we build websites and all kinds of things, we also have FiGrowth Academy. And FiGrowth Academy is something that we rolled out last year. We have, I think it's about 4 or 5 paid courses on the Academy right now. I'm going to pull it up in just a second, but it's lots of topics ranging from pay-per-click ads to social media ads to winning on Google and how to create a great content strategy for your financial institution. Everything is related to banks and credit unions. They're all like recorded sessions like this, but with really actionable, tips. And we go through and do lots of screen shares to show you exactly how to do things. They come with study guides and PDFs of all of the, the information that we go through. So we're offering a 30% discount. The cool thing about this too is you can purchase it once and then share it with your whole team. You don't have to have, so we don't mind if you share access with other members of your team that access the content for 1 year. And we also have a bundle. So if more than one course interests you, you can actually register for our bundle for all 4 courses. And that's a great discount, especially with the discount 30. The discount is going to expire on the 14th of February, but let me just show you FiGrowth Academy. This is our FiGrowth Academy. If you just type in figrowthacademy.com, it will bring you to our courses, and you'll see we talk a little bit about them. We have some video here as well, and then this is the bundle that has all 4 courses. But you can see the individual courses here: proven email marketing strategies that work for banks and credit unions. We really go through those in depth. Social media ads and how to attract the right audience to your financial institution. Ida, our digital ads manager, and I actually go into the back end of Facebook ads and show you how to build some of these campaigns, how we set them up, how to target them. It's really, really useful. We also do the exact same thing with pay-per-click ads, which are really important, especially when you're getting to that late stage buyer who's out there searching for mortgages and you really want to get in front of them on Google search. So that's a great course for you all. And then winning with Google, how to lead your institution's content strategy to success, how to get that organic reach on Google and drive great content strategy and content creation for your financial institution. So
these are good topics, Meredith, and you do them really well. You're a great teacher. I
was a teacher in a former life, so I do have a little bit of a leg up on that. And then training is something that I have a passion for, and we are a training agency. So we, in a teaching agency, we work with our clients to show them how things are done, not just do for them. So we pride ourselves on that. So yes, I think these courses are really, they're not crazy expensive, and they don't take a tremendous amount of time, usually like an hour and change of video, but you get a lot of value for those. So wanted to share that. Again, the discount code is discount30. Feel free to share that with anybody else that you guys have. We will follow up this presentation with the recording and the slides, and feel free to reach out to Scott or me. I'm Meredith at figro.com. And we would love to hear from you all on how your video and social media strategy for mortgages is going. So thank you so much for a great session. Thanks, Scott, for being here.
Thanks, Meredith, for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, everybody have a great day.